If you or someone you know has diabetes, you may have built up an extra supply of test strips and lancets. That's where we come in. We'll buy the supplies that you don't need and resell them to those in need to prevent waste. Help us make diabetes management more affordable. Visit us at teststripswithaz.com.
Hey, Mike Heck here. Earlier today, I got the chance to talk to Bantamweight contender Richie Santiago, who's going to take on Miles Johns this Tuesday night, week 2 of the 3rd season of Dana White's Contender Series, live from the UFC Apex. Of course, we had to ask the New England fighter how he felt about fellow New England fighter Yorgan De Castro getting a finish and a UFC contract on last night's episode of the show.
Last night, the whole production was amazing. The Contender Series, they definitely stepped it up this year. But I know Yorgan personally. He's a friend of mine. I've trained with him. And to see him go out there and put on a performance and get the only finish of the night, and, he really stood out. And it was just inspiring because now it's like, all right, he can do it. I know I can do it, like I'm next. So, it really got me pumped. I'm really fired up now.
This is the 3rd season of the Contender Series here in the United States, and Dana White last night awards 2 contracts, and I thought Yorgan absolutely deserved it. He had the only finish, and I thought he looked fantastic, but there was a little bit of controversy, not with Yorgan, but a lot of people were up in arms that Brendan Loughnane didn't get a contract, and, Dana had a lot to say about what he was looking for. He's looking for killers. He's not looking for guys who are going to shoot for takedowns with 10 seconds left in the fight. Like, I found it kind of strange that, Puma got the contract after shooting for a takedown in the 3rd round, but then Loughnane, who was apparently peeing blood at the end of the fight, shot for a takedown with 10 seconds left. So, in terms of timing for you, hearing what he had to say last night, seeing the performances, did you learn anything more about what you need to do next week?
Yeah, I just, I got to go out there and I have to stand out, and I'm not going to do that by, fighting safe. And when Dana White says like, oh, I don't want to see guys shooting for takedowns with 10 seconds left in the round, he's talking about guys fighting safe. Because, everybody knows the old, shoot for a takedown at the last 10 seconds to try to solidify the round. And, that's kind of a safe thing to go for. Dana White wants guys that are going to go for it. It's not necessarily about like, oh, he wants, only knockouts, but it's like he wants guys that are going to go out there and put it all on the line. And, if you see me fight in the past, that's my goal. That's what I want to do. So I'm just going to go out there, do what I normally do, and I'm just going to try to stand out as much as I possibly can.
As a fan of media member, I love the Contender Series, and this is a great opportunity for you. How did this all come to be? Like, where were you when you got the call about being on the show? Tell me that story. Yeah,
it was pretty crazy. So I had fought twice last year. And then going into 2019, I was supposed to fight in January for CES. That ended up falling through. So the plan was for me to fight in April or May. Couple offers came, nothing really solidified. Nothing really that was worth my time. Nothing, so it didn't work out for me to fight in April or May. So, then it started to move towards, all right, we're going to have to fight on the June card for CES. And around the same time, me and my manager had been talking about, summertime, the Contender Series is going to be coming up. It would be really nice to go in at 8-1, but at 7-1, we probably still have a good chance of getting on. So I started thinking, you know what, let's just put my name in there just to see what happens. So my manager, he got in contact with Sean Shelby. He gave him my name. He said, hey, I got this guy, he's 7-1. And Sean Shelby actually answered right back and said, hey, yeah, we've heard of Richie. We know him. We'll see what we can find. So meanwhile, I actually was in talks with CES. They had offered me a fight, and I, took it, and I was kind of like holding off on it. Like I didn't want to accept it because I knew that, there could be the possibility of the contenders. So I kind of waited off. A few days later, my manager calls me up, says, hey, are you busy tonight? And I go, why, what's up? He goes, I got a contract for you to sign. And there it is. So we got the contract. I signed the contract. We sent it in. I had 9 weeks to prepare. And, here we are, a week out, and we're ready to go.
Obviously, being on that show is huge, and you've probably seen the photos and videos. I'm sure I know you watched the event last night. No more tough gym to host these fights. Now you have this brand new Apex arena. What do you think of the new spot? Or were you kind of hoping that you'd get to feel that history and nostalgia in the Tough Gym like we've seen in the past 2 seasons?
Yeah, the Tough Gym would have been cool for sure. There's a lot of cool stuff. A lot of incredible moments have happened in that building. But I've also heard, like, I've had friends that fought on the Contenders in the past, and they said, the locker rooms were not ideal. It was way over capacity. There wasn't enough room for people to come watch. So I'd heard complaints about it. So, now that they finally unveiled the Apex, and I saw videos online of them showing it and Dana doing Q&As about it, and it looks incredible. Like it looks like a real, legit event, rather than just like, okay, this is just for like hardcore fight fans is what it was before. But now it's like, oh, this is an event that everybody can watch. So it looks really cool. And like I said, Contenders they've really upped their game this year. So it's going to be awesome to be able to come in and fight in that new arena.
You get Miles Johns, who's undefeated, the LFA Bantamweight champion. How familiar with the name were you, and how familiar with his fighting style, what he's done in the cage were you when you got this fight?
Not really. Before we got the name, I think I had seen him fight in the LFA, but I didn't really know much about him. All I knew was he was undefeated. But looking at his past fights, he's gone 5 rounds before. He's obviously a tough guy. He's obviously got the conditioning. But yeah, I watched him fight, and it's nothing I've never seen before. Yeah, he's an undefeated guy, but I was the undefeated guy for a while too. So that the record's not going to matter to me. What matters is what happens when we step in the cage together. And I'm looking to stand out. I'm looking to shine that night.
Stylistically, I know you feel like the matchup favors you very well. This is your opportunity to shine, like you said. What are you going to bring to the table that Miles just has absolutely no answer for?
It's stylistically, I just think I'm the more complete fighter. I think I'm a more dynamic striker than him. I think, his wrestling's good, his boxing's good, but besides that, he kind of lacks in the other areas. I think where he lacks, I shine. So, I'm a lot more dynamic than him. I like to throw knees. I like to throw elbows and kicks. He just throws punches on the grounds. He's the type of guy that'll try to take you down, hold you down. I'm the type of guy, if I take you down, I'm going to get on top of you and I'm going to try to finish you. I'm not, just going to hold the guy down and lay him prey. I'm going to get on top of him. I'm going to mount him, beat him up, take his back, choke him out, whatever happens. I'm always looking for the finish. I'm not just going to, fight it safe. I'm definitely looking for the finish.
Obviously, CES is a big-time regional promotion, not just, obviously in New England, but, the deal with Access TV. Now they're on UFC Fight Pass. I mean, there's a lot of, taste of exposure that organization brings to the table. And obviously, being in New England and having that tight-knit community like we talked about, you've probably talked to guys like Matt Bissett. You probably talked to guys like Yorgan De Castro since he got the big win, and obviously Greg Rebello and guys like that who have been a part of this. How much has being a part of that organization, being part of the New England fight scene in general, how much has that prepared you for this opportunity on Tuesday?
Oh, that's awesome. I signed with CES for my pro debut, and I've done all my professional fights with them. And, I think the benefit that I've had with them is, they really treat it like it's, a major league. Like, even though, we are a local promotion, they give us that UFC treatment. We come in, we talk to a lot of reporters, we do a lot of media, photo shoots, green screens, all that type of stuff, weigh-in day, we have media days, open workouts, they give us the whole, UFC treatment. So even though I haven't been in the UFC yet, obviously I've been treated and conditioned to, kind of get used to, having all of that and having that big experience. And yeah, so CES has been great in that aspect. And just being part of the New England scene, I train with Triforce MMA and Lausanne MMA. And if you don't know, I train with guys like Rob Font, Calvin Cater, like you said, Greg Rebello, Yorgan De Castro, Randy Costa, Kyle Bokniak. You know what I mean? I'm training with killers every day, and these are the guys that help me get ready. I help them get ready, and it's my time to shine.
When are you going to head out to Vegas?
Leaving Saturday morning, so a couple of days. So I'm excited.
I know you work during the day. As a matter of fact, we're doing this in the middle of your lunch break, which I really appreciate. You do your training at night. What do you do for your day job, and how do they react to the news of you being on the Contender Series?
So I work at a company called Hoshizaki. It's a refrigeration company. We sell refrigeration and ice machines and stuff like that. I work in the warehouse. I do parts and tech support. But yeah, everybody in the office, they know I fight. They've been to my fights in the past. And, when they heard that I got this call for, big fight in Vegas, everybody's pumped. They're asking me where they can watch it. And, everybody's excited. Everybody's supporting me. So it's very cool,
I remember covering UFC 220 in Boston last year. And at the media day, the first person I got in line to talk to was Calvin Kattar. He was getting ready to fight Shane Burgos, and he was wearing his New England versus the world t-shirt.
Yep.
Is that part of your mentality at all heading into this one in any way? Like New England versus the world, CES versus LFA. Do you kind of have that chip at all on your shoulder, that regional chip?
Yeah, a little bit. Like you said, Team New England, we're a tight-knit community, a lot of us cross-train together, all the best gyms, even though on the local circuit, we end up fighting each other. We, on the big picture, we end up training together. There's a lot of guys that you see from all different gyms coming over to cross train with everybody. So, we are a tight knit community. We stick together. We're all friends. But yeah, it really is like a CES versus LFA fight, which is pretty cool because, Miles Jones was the LFA guy. I was kind of one of the CES guys. We were both on Access TV. And now we're crossing paths on the big show. So it's a cool, like, kind of a graduation, a step up for us to come together, and fight each other. So that's going to be cool.
I don't know. I know like 3 years ago, everyone was making predictions. I'm going to knock him out in the first round. I'm going to submit him in the second round. And I'm not sure if you're a specific prediction guy, but when you visualize this thing going down on Tuesday night in Vegas at the Apex in front of Dana White and Sean Shelby and Mick Maynard, how does it all play out? How do you get your hand raised on Tuesday?
Oh man, I'm just looking to finish him in the first round. I'm not a game plan guy. I always say my wrestling coach used to always say it's just action and reaction. I'm just gonna go in and take what he gives me and see what happens. If the opportunity comes for me to kick him in the face and knock him out, I'm going for it. If the opportunity comes, if he tries to take me down and I take his back, I'll choke him out. Either way, I want that finish. I just want to stand out. If the finish doesn't come in the first round, I'll go for it in the second round. I'll go for it in the third round. Either way, I'm going to try to stand out as much as possible. Maybe
Yorgan De Castro can pass some of that dynamic leg kick power onto you, and you could finish the fight like that. Because how crazy would that be? Back-to-back weeks, at least how it looks right now, schedule-wise. A New England fighter is going to kick off the action on the Contender Series. Certainly worked out well for Yorgan last night. Will the trend continue in Las Vegas on Tuesday? We're certainly going to find out as Richie Santiago takes on Miles John. ESPN Plus. Richie, I appreciate the time very much. Before we let you go, let the folks know where to find and follow you on the web, social media, shout-outs, sponsors, etc. The floor is yours.
Yeah, you can follow me on Instagram, Ricardo Miguel 1010. My Snapchat is Ricardo Miguel. Find me on Facebook, Richard Santiago. Thank you to my sponsors, my coaches, my manager, Mike Polvera, my head coach, Pete Jeffrey. Also, my number one sponsor, Jeff Gates Construction. Check us out, ESPN Plus, UFC Apex this Tuesday. We're going to put on a show.
All the best to you, Richie. The trip out to Vegas, everything going on for Fight Week, the weight cut, everything, the fight. We're really looking forward to it. And, as a media member, I'm not supposed to sit there and take bias, but, New England for life. You know what I mean? Thanks again, man.
Thanks,